Yeah, no, I hear you, and it helps who he's throwing
Yeah.
to. Probably top to bottom, best supporting cast he's had when they're all healthy. Okay, but what really got us into this conversation, though, and looking ahead to Sunday, I mean, my goodness, we get to see Lamar Jackson versus Justin Herbert. I mean, just two quarterbacks who cannot be more on fire right now. I know you love both of those guys. What are you seeing in terms of the growth of Lamar Jackson specifically? We know you've always loved Herbert, and Herbert's great, but I want you to focus in on Lamar Jackson as a passer because that's the only real question mark that's hounding him over the last few years. And then part B to my question there is where do those two guys fit in to that top 5, 6, 7 conversation? Because they seem like they're both challenging to get in that conversation as well.
No doubt. I mean, Justin Herbert's there for sure, 100% in my opinion, and Lamar Jackson's dancing around that area as well. So, again, we're talking about superstars, like definitely in the conversation for the best players in football for my money. Justin Herbert, the thing about him, he's so big and he hits the bullseye like 98 out of 100 times with every throw, no matter what the throw is. And then when he does get outside of the pocket, he can run like 4-5 and like rip off like a 20-yard gain or run over a linebacker. That's where he's really special, added to the fact he's a great decision maker. So he is in the top 5 conversation. I think for like Lamar Jackson, and again, I haven't really gone through this completely. So, but I think, man, Lamar Jackson's right there with it. You know me, guys. I've been a defender of Lamar Jackson since he came out in the draft. I was defending him last year when people were saying, he can't beat you with his right arm. I was going, that's not the issue. The offense has to give him more opportunities to beat you with the right arm. They need to expand their offensive scheme. They're doing that. They're finding more ways to get Hollywood Brown the ball. And the biggest thing with him, and like we're showing in these clips, look at his base. I think that's the thing that's changed about him. He used to let his feet get together, and then when he would throw the ball, it would be almost like a little bit of a stride motion. Look at him right here in these throws. It's always right underneath his shoulders. Perfect, so he can hop around, and that allows him just to do it seamlessly, and he doesn't always have to step into the throw because you can't always do that in the pocket. So now the legs are in a good position, and maybe you can just turn the body and throw that way, and that's what Rodgers and Brady do. And let's not forget Rodgers. He's in this conversation too for top five quarterbacks for sure.
And all quarterbacks say that it's the ground up. It ain't the arm. It's the legs. It's the footwork. It's the ground up. Go ahead, Michael.
No doubt. Yes. It's the mechanics. It's the ability to get that all on the same page. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's all right, because I'll definitely ask you some more quarterback questions in a couple minutes. I just love to get your take on this. We saw in Detroit, I really feel sorry for that franchise, maybe the fans more than the franchise itself. They hadn't won a championship in over 60 years. It's just amazing what their fans have had to put up with. And I think Dan Campbell really felt it. I think he felt it and the fans felt him. I don't know if you saw the video or heard the sound of him crying on Sunday. Just wondering, from a fan standpoint, I'm sure that goes over well. But how about in a locker room? Like, if you're playing for him, do you say to yourself, this is good, this is good, this is a real man, this is a real person, or do you say, it's only week 5, bruh. We got a long way to go. You breaking down already? Like, how do you perceive that?
I think more along the lines of like what you first said. Now, it depends how you are leading up to those type events, okay? I mean, yeah, they got to know the man, the human being they're dealing with here, certainly. But I think really, at least from the outside looking in with a situation like Dan Campbell, hey, I respect it. It doesn't make him look like any less of a man. In fact, like he's one of the, toughest men on the planet. And that's why he can cry, and he doesn't care, and he's emotional, and he cares about his players. And that shows. And I think they know that. And that's why I don't think it'll be looked negatively in the locker room in any way, shape, or form. Hey, they're playing really good. Not really good, but they play really hard, and they're competitive every game. And, there's not a lot of talent on that roster right now. So the results, I don't know what people expected. I was expecting them to be 1-4 at this point or somewhere around that area. I mean, I've actually been surprised with how well and how much they've been in every game, and they've had a chance to win. But there's no big difference-making players on the defensive side of the ball. There's no superstars on the offensive side of the ball. But they're finding ways to win because of their toughness, their attention to detail. They're well coached on both sides of the ball, and that's what's made them a pain in the butt. And I think players got to respect Dan Campbell for sure.
So let's go from an organization I feel a little sorry for to an organization I have great respect for. And
okay.
Michael Smith, we talked about this earlier this week. And the Ravens, I just look at the Ravens and I just think they do so much right. Not beyond Lamar Jackson, beyond the coaching staff, just the organization. And I wonder, I'll just look at it from a writer's perspective. Back in the day when newspapers were a thing, Chris Sims, Michael Smith and I, we were at the Boston Globe, and we'd say, man, not many places you can step up from the Boston Globe for a newspaper, and you're in that situation, it just makes you better. Like being at the Globe, being at the LA Times, Washington Post makes you better, New York Times. When you think about players, do you say, ooh, if that player could just wind up with the Baltimore Ravens, their career could have been different? I mean, am I going too far, or is it that kind of place where you can take? Yeah, is that how it is?
No, I'm with you. No, I think it is like, man, you guys made a step up. Look at this. You're talking to me once a week. You really hit the big time. I mean, first off, but second off, in all seriousness, that's a special organization. I've been in that facility. It's one of those facilities when you walk in, you go, it just has a little bit different feel and atmosphere around here. A little bit more of a feel of professionalism and confidence and, whoa, things are businesslike and being done the right way. Of course, I want to give the owner a lot of respect, but for my money, it all started with Ozzie Newsome. That's where I would go. His ability to find the right players to make a culture there. And that's really what he's done with the Ravens. Have a culture of what? Like the toughest, biggest, baddest dudes on the planet play for the Baltimore Ravens. And they love playing football, and they're going to lay it on the line week to week. And then they got a coach in John Harbaugh who accentuates that and is embodies that as well, to where, yes, to me, they're one of the, I mean, come on. We're talking about what, 20 years straight of the Ravens being good and competitive and in the playoff and Super Bowl conversation? That's because things are done right in all facets of the organization. I have tremendous respect for the way they do business.